In the vast frozen expanse of northern Eurasia, where icy winds howled across endless plains, a new power began to rise, the Russian Empire. It was an empire born from struggle, faith, and ambition, one that would one day stretch from Europe to the Pacific Ocean, becoming the largest contiguous empire in world history. Our story begins in the early 1500s, when Moscow, once a small medieval duchy, was transforming into a kingdom under the leadership of Ivan III, Ivan the Great. He broke free from Mongol control and declared Moscow the Third Rome, a spiritual successor to the fallen Byzantine Empire. This idea, that Russia was destined to lead the Orthodox Christian world, became the foundation of centuries of expansion and identity. When Ivan IV, known to history as Ivan the Terrible, took the throne, Russia changed forever. His reign was both magnificent and brutal. Ivan expanded Russia eastward into the vast lands of Siberia, laying the first stones of what would become an empire spanning 11 time zones. Yet, his rule was also marked by fear, harshness, and paranoia. In Ivan's time, Russia grew, but it also trembled. After Ivan's death came chaos, the time of troubles, when famine, foreign invasion, and political strife nearly destroyed the nation. But from this darkness emerged a new dynasty, the Romanovs. In 1613, a young man named Mikhail Romanov was crowned Tsar. Under the Romanovs, Russia found stability and ambition. The dynasty would rule for more than 300 years, turning Russia from a fragile kingdom into a global superpower. By the late 1600s, the empire's destiny took shape under one of history's most remarkable rulers, Peter the Great. Tall, energetic, and relentless in vision, Peter wanted to modernize his nation. He traveled across Europe in disguise, learning shipbuilding, science, and governance. When he returned, he transformed Russia forever, building a navy, reforming the army, and founding a new capital, St. Petersburg, his window to the West. Under Peter, Russia became a modern European power. But it came at a cost. The people bore heavy taxes, laboring in freezing conditions to build cities and ships. Still, Peter's dream endured. His empire now had access to Europe, trade, and influence. A century later, Russia reached another golden chapter under Catherine the Great. She was a German princess who rose to power after a palace coup, and she ruled with intelligence, charm, and iron will. Catherine expanded the empire deep into Eastern Europe and the Black Sea region, bringing in new lands and ideas from the Enlightenment. She encouraged art, literature, and science, and St. Petersburg became one of Europe's great cultural capitals. But beneath the brilliance, cracks began to appear. Millions of peasants lived as serfs, bound to the land and their landlords. While the nobility flourished, the common people suffered in silence, a tension that would later ignite revolution. As the 19th century unfolded, the Russian Empire grew even larger, conquering Central Asia, Siberia, and the Caucasus. Yet, it was an empire of extremes, dazzling wealth for a few, deep hardship for many. The Napoleonic Wars brought both fear and pride. In 1812, Napoleon's army invaded Russia, one of the most powerful forces Europe had ever seen. But the Russian winter, scorched earth tactics, and sheer endurance of the people crushed the invaders. The burning of Moscow became a symbol of Russian resilience, and when Napoleon's army retreated, Russia emerged as the savior of Europe. By the late 1800s, the empire stretched across continents, from the icy Arctic to the warm seas of Crimea, from the forests of Poland to the mountains of the Far East. Yet, modernization lagged behind the West. While factories and railroads began to appear, the social divide grew wider. Then came Tsar Nicholas II, the last Romanov emperor. His reign began with promise, industrial progress, new cities, and a growing population. But discontent brewed. Wars with Japan and political unrest weakened the empire. The tragic Bloody Sunday massacre of 1905 exposed deep fractures within society, and whispers of revolution grew louder. World War I was the final blow. Millions died, the economy collapsed, and faith in the monarchy disappeared. In 1917, the Russian Revolution erupted. Nicholas II abdicated, ending 300 years of Romanov rule. The once mighty Russian Empire, the largest on earth, dissolved into chaos, giving birth to a new power, the Soviet Union. Yet the legacy of the empire endures. Its architecture, culture, and spirit still echo through history, from the onion domes of St. Basil's Cathedral to the palaces along the Neva River. The Russian Empire was a paradox, both enlightened and oppressive, glorious and tragic. It was an empire that dreamed of eternity, and though it fell, its story remains one of the grandest chapters in human civilization.